Hello, good morning to all of you who were praying and that supported our my visit to Washington D.C. last week. Some of you know that I tried to do a live stream yesterday, Sunday, to update you all as a matter of accountability to y'all, especially for your specific prayers, and to show you not only the needs that we have from now on, but what the Lord did this week was just amazing. It was fantastic doors open, opportunities that the Lord put in front of me, some of them pretty much miraculous, supernatural, as we would say. And I, first of all, want to express my gratefulness to all of you and Jossie and Conrad, our family, for your support, for your love, for your care, but especially and above anything else, for your prayers for us, so that the Lord can open us a door, an opportunity to stay here. As I keep saying, and you heard me say this many times, right now, our immigration case is not a legal case anymore. It's not a constitutional case. It is a political case. The decision to deny my green card and the decision to terminate Jossie's asylum by USCIS was pretty much a political decision. This is the way I see it. This is my opinion, because my conclusion is that they saw that President Trump was going to blank pardon everybody, including myself, and they just gave me this final headache. That's okay. It's part of the game. It's part of the fight for us right now. And I just did not want to stay in Midland, here in our area in the Permian Basin, and wait for a miracle. I wanted to go to DC. I wanted to knock at doors. I wanted to talk to people, which I did. And this is something this is one of my biggest strengths. This is something that the Lord gave me, a highly accurate communicative skills. I know how to bridge gaps. I know how to engage. I know how to bring people to believe and at least to be interested in the causes that I defend. So, but again, above anything, above all of that, I saw God's hand guiding me, and even delivering me from some traps there, some people that I should not be talking to. But again, this is going to be for another time. Let me give to you a rundown of what happened this week. And what I did was I prepared here a couple of slides to show you how the week went, meaning last week. I returned home on Saturday after a big, massive storm in Houston. The planes were, all the planes that were supposed to be landing in Houston were diverted to either Austin, Dallas, or San Antonio, and my flight went all the way back to Dallas. Then they wanted me to get into the plane and go back to the same plane flying from DC back to Houston and then back to Midland. I said, no. I'm going to deplane here, and I will rebook my plane, which was 6.5 hours later. So I was inside of an airplane or airport for 15 hours, left the hotel in DC at 9:30, and I got back home. I landed here in Midland close to 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning. So let me just show you a couple of the slides here that will make very clear this the week and everything that happened. So these were before I go to DC specifically. I wanted to show you a couple of interviews, podcasts that I have been participating on. People have been interested in our case, and the Lord has been opening doors, as I told you. These are a couple of the podcasts, not all of them, just a few of the ones that I was invited to come on and tell our story. So by now, the notoriety, meaning the attention to our case, is it's much bigger than it was a month ago. And again, I am grateful for the Lord to be opening these doors. So you see here a couple of people. Let me show you this first one. Go back to the first one. The first one on your left, the upper one, this lady. This was on one of the most mind-blowing, and some of you already know it by now, but it was one of the most mind-blowing moments in my life. This lady here, Lady Hamilton, that's the name of her podcast on Rumble. She is the great great granddaughter, if I am not mistaken. She is the direct descendant from Alexander Hamilton, one of the signers of the Constitution. So I was absolutely excited to talk to her. We had a wonderful conversation. It is on her Rumble channel, Lady Hamilton Art. That's her Rumble channel, Lady Hamilton Art. You can find our interview, our conversation there. So Jan Baker, Mr. Michael, Mr. Derek, Mr. I forgot the name of the guy on the right hand on the bottom part. Here's John and his friend from San Antonio, Mary Starr, Sister Mary here from Texas. We had a wonderful conversation as well. My great friend from New Orleans, Martha Huckabee, and she interviewed me and Jake Lang at the same time, and Emerald Robinson from Florida. So those were some of the people that I talked to. And again, there are other podcasts that I will be updating this presentation later on as time flies, as time goes on. These two pictures were very important to me in DC. The picture on the left, you see a building. This building was the Men for Nations ministry, the ministry that I served for 6 months in 2015, almost 7 months in 2015. And this was actually the ministry that injected into my veins, that consolidated, so to speak, what the Lord wanted me to do here in the United States of America. That's the place that 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, I understood why the Lord was bringing us to America, not to any other part of the world as missionaries. That's the building where I learned from a South Korean pastor that was, again, this is 10 years ago, this is the very first time ever in American history that America has been receiving more missionaries than sending to the world. So I had a wonderful time there. 4 hours of solid prayer every morning. And another assignment we had was to go to the Senate buildings, Senate hearings, and the House hearings, and take note of everything that was going to be discussed there, and bring back to the prayer room. You see on the third portion of the building, you have the prayer room up there. This is right next to the Supreme Court and the back portion of the Supreme Court on 2nd Street in Washington, D.C. This second picture on your right is this lady. Her name is Sandy. And she now, I mean, again, Men for Nations does not exist anymore as a ministry, at least not in this building. But she is part of a prayer movement in D.C. that is taking part of this building right now. It's part of one of the ministries that is being hosted by this building, the owners of this building. So I talked to her for a couple of minutes, and she said, let me pray with you. And right in front of the building, she prayed with me for everything that I was going to be doing in DC. So those are the things that were not at all in my agenda. So those were in God's agenda. And I was so mind blown by what the Lord did that morning with Miss Sandy. This is another thing that was not on my agenda at all. On your left, you have Brian Mock. On your right, you have Mr. Adam. And both of these guys, Adam Villarreal, both of these guys took the day off. They live in Richmond, capital of Virginia. They took their day off on Monday just to be with me, just to go to the reps and to the senators' offices with me. And I really don't have any word to express gratefulness for that, because again, these guys never saw me before, but they said, we are one family now. The J6ers are right now one big family, very united family. And they left everything that they were doing back there, and they are involved right now in a wonderful project because they were arrested. Actually, Brian was arrested. Adam was not. And now they are the president and the vice president of an organization that is pleading with President Trump and with the Capitol Hill officers, senators, and reps to help them to remove out of jail people that are in jail, many thousands of people that should not be there anymore because their sentences, their time in jail was already served. They are extra time in jail. So they got together with partners, with they established alliances, and now they are pleading with President Trump to release all of those guys that are back there. Why? Because Brian was there and he talked to those people. He was under arrest for 2 years. He was in solitary confinement for 100 years, like 100 years nonstop. So somebody that was there suffering everything that he suffered now comes out, and he transforms that suffering into something to help people that probably he will never know, people that will never know him. And this is so much the American that I know about. So I want to honor both of them. And once again, guys, if you watch this, thank you so very much. I was absolutely flabbergasted by your humility, by your engagement, by your commitment, by your generosity, not only toward me, but toward so many folks that were left behind by the American government. And now you're doing the best you can, and everything that is in your power to give them liberty, give them freedom, the same one that you will now enjoy. So Brian and Adam, great shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. This is another patriot that I met there, Miss Jen Baker. She was the one responsible for the Gateway Pundit article and the interview. I had an interview with her for almost an hour, and we talked a lot about a lot of stuff. So Jen, if you're watching this, girl, thank you so very much. You are my sister now, as you said to me, you are my brother now, and I am so grateful to have met you, and I for all your support, all of your connections, people that you have been connecting me with ever since we met. So Jen Baker, thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you, lady. This was another gift from heaven. This lady on your right is Miss Suzanne Monk. Suzanne was the one responsible for the coordination of the entire rescue operations of the J6ers who were in jail when Trump pardoned everybody on January 20th. So she coordinated the groups of people that would be going to each one of the jails, the prisons, all around the country. I think 35 states and 80 prisons. So she was the one coordinating each state. But she was the one coordinating behind the curtains the blanket pardon for every single one of the J6ers. We still have some of them still in jail right now, and she is still there on it, working that, giving all her time and her commitment and her money, everything, all her energy, not only to what has already happened, meaning our pardons, which is on your left side. You see my pardon. It was because of this lady, but still those who are left behind, she's still on. She's still connecting and committed to bring them out. So Suzanne, God bless you. May the Lord give you everything that you in your generosity have given to the life, have poured out on the lives of so many, including myself, not even an American citizen yet. But I am blessed. I was blessed with the pardon because of you and so many others. So thank you so very much, Suzanne. So let me now tell you about what happened in my connections with each one of the elected officials. So some of the guys that I visited with, these three, Scott Perry, James Comer, and Tim Burchett, I met them eye to eye. I talked to them for 5 minutes. I handed them the documents that I had photocopied and showing the step-by-step process in bullet points, very easy for them to to read it very quickly because I know these guys have full plates, very busy all the time. So I did it, and I was actually, I received that tip from by my friend Brian. He said, put it everything in one page because these guys don't read more than one paragraph. So I put it in bullet points. 2016, we land here. 2018, the asylum comes. 2020, application for the green card, and so on and so forth, until January 6, 21, and then pardon 25. So I put it in a very easy way for them to understand. All three of them gave me 5-6 minutes of their times as they were walking in the halls of Congress, and it was amazing the way that they reacted in such a positive way. I know that these guys, many of these guys, I know politicians. I've been working with politicians for 25 years of my life, 24 countries of the world. I know that there are folks out there that are just paying lip service to things that they are supposed to be doing. But I felt in my heart of hearts that these three guys that I was able to talk eye to eye, they were very interested in my case. They said, I will pass your case, convey your case to the hands of our attorneys, chiefs of staffs, whatever. So something is about to happen, I believe, and I'm expecting these three guys. They were perplexed because of course, they were not aware that there was a non-immigrant, an immigrant non-citizen caught in the J6 mess. They were not aware of that, and now they are. So I appreciate your attention, Mr. Perry, Mr. Comer, Mr. Borchett. Thank you so very much for your time, sirs. These are the other guys that I was not able to talk directly with, but I talked to either their chiefs of staff, or somebody, some advisor, some assistant in their office. So Miss Victoria Sparts, remember that Miss Sparts is from Ukraine. She's naturalized. Now she's an American citizen, but she knows exactly what it means to be in our position as immigrants, needing the support, the help of the American government. Mr. Thomas Massey was not there, so I left documents there. Miss Maria Elvira Salazar, she's from Florida, and she has been working very, very closely with Brazilian immigrants here in America that arrived in America as asylees because they are fleeing full-blown communism in Brazil right now. So she is very much up to date in everything that is going on in my country, Brazil, right now. My country that became, after Jair Bolsonaro, the former president, buddy. He's a friend to President Trump. He fell 2 years after Trump fell here. He fell in Brazil 2 years later with the same Control-C, Control-V, same copy and paste, same color revolution process. January 6th here, there was the January 8th in Brazil in 2023, 2 years later. So she knows what that means, and I really hope and expect that she can somehow help us as well. Mr. Eli Crane, Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene had wonderful conversations with their chiefs of staff. And Mr. Pfluger. Mr. Pfluger is my rep, and I finally received a phone call from one of his attorneys on Wednesday. I was still in D.C., so this person just got specific information, asked me to fill out a form, which I did online. So I granted her permission or authority, my authority, to dig into our process to get information that needs to be gotten to. So it was a moment of, it was a sort of a sigh of relief for me, because finally I tried to talk to August Pfluger many times. I did talk to him twice, like for 2 or 3 minutes. What I said was, sir, you know me, you know my family, because I campaigned not for him, but I was politically advising one of the 12 candidates for the District 11 in 2020 that he ended up winning. So I drove with him everywhere. We drove together everywhere for almost 5 months in 2020. So he knows me. He knows my case. He knows that I'm not a terrorist. He knows that I'm not an insurrectionist, that I did not want to overthrow the American government on January 6, 2021. So I really hope that he can help us somehow, especially what I requested his attorney was, I don't want to wait for 5 more years, meaning to start the whole green card process again and wait between 3 and 5 more years to pay between $20,000 and $25,000. so that in the end, somebody on the other side of the counter at USCIS can say, nope, because the decision to grant a specific visa, whatever type of visa it is, it's very discretionary. The person that is analyzing the case can say yes, can say no. And there's one thing here that I started questioning in this whole process. And my question was, why can't it not be appealed? Every single letter that we receive, when there is a denial of, and I'm talking not about myself and my family only, I'm talking about any immigrant. When there is a denial of a visa, it says you cannot appeal this. And my question is, why not? Everything in America can be appealed. So I wanted to see, I really want to understand the whole process. I want to understand why the law, if at all the law says that it cannot be appealed in terms of our denial for the green card, and in the case of my wife, the termination of her asylum. So let me go on. Troy Nels, Mr. Troy Nels, Mr. Barry Loudermilk. Loudermilk and Troy Nels they have been so committed and so they know a lot. So I just missed the word here, but they know a lot about things that are not public yet. We know that because especially Mr. Loudermilk, he was appointed by this new legislature, the Republican majority legislature, to keep digging into the monstrous or the monstrosity of the J6 committee that Nancy Pelosi put together last legislature. So he's been digging on and on and on, and he knows a lot of things that we don't know yet that are still classified. And so he knows what happened on January 6, 2021. He knows what happened that day. So I was there and I talked to one of his assistants, one of his advisors. I said, he is very much committed and I need his help. He knows what happened there. He knows that I am not a terrorist. So that is Mr. Loudermilk. And Mr. Thomas Tiffany, that I really forgot to take a picture of, like the other ones, of his office door, as I did with the others. And this is the best I could get from internet. Mr. Thomas Tiffany from Wisconsin, his chief of staff, Mr. Jason, sat down with me for almost half an hour, and Brian and Adam, they were also there. And he said, this is ridiculous. This is an outrage. You should not be undergoing this after the pardon. So he said, if your rep doesn't do anything, I will ask Mr. Thomas Tiffany, my rep, the rep from Wisconsin, to try to do something to help you. I believe that you need help, and I believe that we can do something to help. Especially, he said, we can even present your letter, something concerning your case, to the Freedom Caucus in the House. So I was so positively impressed with his keen, sincere, honest interest in our case. And Mr. Jason, thank you so very much for the time that you gave me, you dedicated to me. I know, again, that you are super busy all the time, and I really appreciate the time that you gave to me so I could tell you my story. Some supernatural signs here that I say that as supernaturals because to me they are ways that God speaks to us, to me and Jassy, so many times. I know that many people out there do not believe that may happen or that can happen. I do. I'm not a Christian fixated on signs, but I know how to spot and identify them when I see them. I know that the Lord keeps talking to us through different ways today, as he always did in all of human history, but especially in these 2,000 years of Christianity. So on the left, you see a bald eagle. This bald eagle was, so let me go back to Jen Baker. So I was talking to Jen, texting with her, and she said, as you were texting with me about the case and so on and so forth, she said, this bald eagle, she said, it's an eaglet. It's a smaller one, but she's huge. And she said she just came out of nowhere and just perched on this branch at the tree inside of my backyard. So she said, I have goosebumps now because this is a good sign for me, right? The bald eagle, the symbol of the United States of America. As I am talking to her, she says she came from out of nowhere. She was not there, and as we were talking, there she is. She took a picture, sent it to me. The other one on your right, when so Brian and Adam, they had an event to talk about their project to release Americans that have been unrighteously incarcerated for so long. They should already be being freed from jail, and they're still there. So they had this event at the Capitol on Thursday, and the Capitol has, you see numbers there, number 1, 2, 3, 4, until number 15. The Capitol has these areas for events, for demonstrations, for rallies. Those were the places that were scheduled, for example, for January 6th, 2021. So they were authorized events by the Capitol authorities. And then they said that, people crossed lines and were not supposed to be there because they were parading and picketing. No, there were events happening that day, supposed to happen that day. This event by Brian and Adam happened on Thursday. And exactly when I asked him what zone, what area of the Capitol is your event going to happen, he said it's going to be on the zone number 12. And those of you, many of you out there that are watching me right now know the number 12 is the number of government in the Word of God. The book of Revelation talks about 12 authorities, government authorities from the Old Testament, 12 authorities from the New Testament, meaning the 24 elders, right, that bow before the Lamb. 12 and 12. 12 is the number of government in the Word of God. So the ministry that we launched 7 years ago, Jossie and I, it's called Nehemiah School of Government. So government has been a big thing for me for 25 years of my life. So that was another big, massive sign from the Lord saying, whatever happens ahead, I'm with you. And so I was so excited about that. And this was the last one, but probably the biggest one of all of them. I was at the airport in DC waiting for my flight, reading my book, minding my own business. And all of a sudden, this gentleman just sits down with me, like nonchalantly, just comes and sits down. And I lift my head. I look to my right hand. That's Senator Cruz. And so I had the honor and the opportunity of a lifetime to sit down with him for 10 minutes, different from, for example, if it happened or if it had happened in his office. He is busy all the time. Phones are ringing and people are coming in and out. No, he was. Now we are waiting for our flight that was supposed to fly out of DC back to Texas in 1 hour. So I had a 10-minute conversation with him and I showed him all the documents. He said, I will take a look at this. I will talk to my lawyers. Let's see what I can do about that. So again, I am not saying that, and I cannot even say that he is going to do something. But the fact that the Lord allowed me to do this outside of his office, outside of his agenda, he was just waiting for a flight, right? And it was mind-blowing to me. And then I said, sir, I'm not going to be picking on you and talking to you nonstop. I could talk to you forever. I would love to talk to you about the Constitution and so on and so forth, but I'm not going to do that. So I thanked him and I went back to my book. He went back to his phone and he was reading some messages and talking to some people. Anyways, whatever he was doing. So that was another big sign for me that the Lord's saying, I'm here, I'm with you. So I kept thinking after I came back and I texted a couple of folks here from Midland and some other friends, closer friends. And I said, when could I have dreamed about that, right? That somebody, a senator of Texas, would just sit down next to me out of the blue, like the eagle that just came out of the blue. So those are the messages that I take from the Lord saying, I'm with you. And these things always brings back to my mind Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21. It says, when you don't know what pathway to walk in front of you, when you don't see any direction, the Lord says, I am going to be a voice behind of you saying, this is the way, walk on it. If you go to the left or if you go to the right, he says, there will be a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk on it. So I see that as a confirmation, as a ratification of the Lord's faithfulness and his love and his care for us, for our case, for our family, and everything related to us. So, guys, the last thing I wanted to share with you is our Give, Send, Go. If you have, many of you have already participated and sent us whatever you can send us, $1, $5, $10, $100, whatever you can. But the most important thing would be for you to share this campaign with others out there. It's called USA Citizenship. You have right there, Give, Send, Go, USA Citizenship. You are going to read a summarized version of our story here and why we need this amount of money, $25,000 for attorneys, for government fees, for whatever it's coming in our way, because I don't know what's coming. We are going to need serious money that we don't have right now to cope with this challenging situation in terms of our immigration status here. So USA Citizenship, Give, Send, Go. You can find it there. If you just Google these two things, USA Citizenship and Give, Send, Go, you're going to go straight to that campaign. So I appreciate that more than anything else. Thank you for your love, for your care, for your prayers. Thank you for standing with us in this fight. Thank you for being with us. We would not win without your support. If we were alone right now, we would not go anywhere. Every single door, every single opportunity, every single pathway that I achieved last week, it was generated because somebody was there with us. Brian, Adam, Jen, Suzanne, Sandra here in Midland that helped us financially to go there and to cover hotel and Uber and flight, everything. So the Lord uses people as he used us so many times in the past. Now the Lord uses people to help us, and we appreciate that. I would be unfair, and it would not be a fair thing for me to even try to say all the names of all the friends and supporters that have been walking this journey with us. So as a general message, please receive our expression of deepest gratitude, and may the Lord bless you and your family abundantly. And whatever happens in terms of novelties, in terms of news here, I will keep all of you posted until something happens. I expect, as I said, I told many folks in DC, my expectation, my hope, and my prayer is that my family, Jassy and Conrad and Stephen and Isabella, and my grandbabies, Baldur and Magnus, my prayer is that for next year, when we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and of the United States of America, that we can celebrate it together with you as American citizens as well. So help us pray for that. May the Lord bless you abundantly, and I will keep you posted. Again, any news that comes out, I will post you on that. All right. God bless you. See you next time. Bye-bye.